Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. There we go. Cool. All right. So Simple Galaxy 79 ABCD says, how did your week go? I did just answer that in a big long thing. I don't know when the internet went out. Oh, you know what? Sometimes seems like we get more and more problems with the internet here in this office. I mean, it's probably a good thing that I'm moving out of the office soon, because we have this. Oh wait, Bart Rocca says we have 2 streams going on at the same time. Seriously? So some people may be on the wrong one. You know what? All right. Well, if anybody's on the old live stream, if it's still there, please go ahead and tell them to come over to this one, if you can, and whatever. So do I remember your name? Simple Galaxy 79. Oh, it's Shalandra? I can't remember what it is. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. All right, so everything's working now. All right, we're gonna. You know what? Sometimes it's not easy. The technology and everything like that. And I think it's my MacBook. It's a MacBook and the lack of USB ports. I think next week what I might try to do. Cool. Next week what I might try to do is do it from the new flat. So anyway, what I was telling you guys about my week, I don't know if you guys did. I was talking about my Ionic version 1 problems this week. Basically, uploading making the change to the application, doing all the testing on Android and on iOS. iOS is fine. But the Android testing too, check all through there, compile it, and then when I upload it to Google Play, it says target SDK is 26, it should be 28, so I think, okay, I just made a change, and then I did not test it as well as I had previously, because it was like, it spent hours testing that thing, so I was just like, okay, click, okay, it still works, cool, and upload it to Android, and then one of the JavaScript libraries that was loading up was not loading up because it was using HTTP and not HTTPS, which apparently is a new thing. So anyway, all right, so now that we've got all our technical glitches out of the way, I hope, how's you guys this week? How did you guys do? So again, and like I was saying earlier, my whole thing this week is I've been moving into a new flat, so I've got stuff here in the office, I've got stuff in the flat. I'm kind of like want to consolidate everything. One of the things I've always prided myself on is my morning routine. My morning routine is what makes me, makes you feel like you're productive in the day. You know, when we got a lot of days going forward, you have your morning routine, and when that gets thrown off by the move or by not having all the stuff I need to, or even just like somebody says, hey, can you come to this event, and you're out a bit too late, like past 10 o'clock, or sometimes they just go out, like somebody will have like a leaving due or something, or they'll say, do you want to go out to a club or something, and I say, yeah, okay, and then it just shoots me in the foot because it throws my morning routine off. So it's one of the things that I'm looking forward to doing, is just moving everything into a flat. So that's kind of how things are going. One of the videos I did this week was about the self-clicking on AdMob, which was one where it was I didn't say his name. I'm still not sure if he told me if I can say his name, but yeah, it was one about putting the device ID in your application. So let's do it. Coding with Chip. How are you going? How's it going, Shalandra? Hey, how are you? Goddess, because no sound. We still have sound now. Bart Raka says there's 2 live streams, so hopefully people aren't on the other live stream waiting for me to come back. And Appavelli, happy Friday. Do you like Objective-C for iOS development? No, Appavelli, I hate Objective-C for app development. I think if I came from a C background, I probably wouldn't mind it so much. I mean, you talk to people who use C, and they're like, oh, it's so much more lower level. They could do more with it, and they really love it. And but for me, it's like it's not similar enough to the other languages. So I went from C# to JavaScript, which is actually JavaScript first rather. JavaScript to C# is very syntactically similar. Java and C#, so they're all the syntax is very similar to each other, and Swift is too. However, it's a lot more different than Objective-C. and which is, to me, it looks like vomit. I hate the NS string, the all that kind of stuff. I think it's just overkill. Now, but then at the same time, I'm sure you have a lot more control over that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, no, I prefer Swift. If I'm doing anything new, I do it in Swift. In fact, one of the things that I hired my developers to do was to take EarSpy and just convert it to Swift because it's like I want to make changes to it. I'm tired of messing around with all this nasty Objective C because my Objective C skills are such that I could tweak things, I could add stuff, I can add but it's a lot of yeah, it's a lot of looking stuff up. I use Objective C like I read Chinese, right? I could do okay, but I gotta look up a lot of stuff. I was like, how do you do that again? How do you do it? Like, it's like the knowledge is in there. It's not readily to hand. Whereas other things like I said, doing the Ionic 1 thing today, it was so simple to do. Just because I'd done it so many times, you're like, okay, we just need a new form. So it's like a new bit of functionality. You got a new form. Put a new form in there. Okay, I'm going to communicate with that through a service class, all this kind of stuff. And because you do it over and over again, it just seems simple. And in some ways, you actually feel a bit guilty for charging for it because it's just like, it's just a simple change, right? However, if you gave it to anybody else, they would take days or weeks to do it because they're not used to that whole framework or how things work. Unless they're an Ionic version 1 guy. Unless they have the skills, honestly. And then they would charge for the skills too. Let's see. Goddess Ninkasi says, last week, one of my apps got suspended and I'm busy fighting with Google Play. Oh, man. But I got I got back my app. Goddess Ninkasi, that's fantastic. What did you do? What were the words that you used? Did you... Yeah, that's fantastic. That's brilliant news. I love hearing about people getting their apps back from an appeal. Because it seems like every time I've appealed, the first appeal is like, no, sorry. And it's like, and I just appeal again and again and again. And try to make little changes. Say, okay, I'm going to change this thing or whatever. But you can't release anything until that's the thing. So, because the last thing you want to, even though they say, okay, but you could still release it again under a different name, and you're like, well, then you're going to suspend that one too. I'd rather just, first of all, I don't need you suspending 2 of my apps because of whatever. And you have all the users. It's the users that are upgrading and are getting the updates. Those are the people who lose out by you putting it under a different name. Let's see. Hi, everyone. Eric, could you share your experience and thoughts on publishing Android apps in China? What app store to publish in? Is it adapting apps worth it? So for me, I've done it in China Mobile. I can't remember the names of them because it's been a while since I've done them. I think it's definitely worth doing. If you have an iOS app, definitely get it translated into Chinese because that market's there. And there's this thing with the iOS store where they get you to fill in all these forms. You have a game in the Chinese app market, and the forms are totally non-legible. But I think if you do it anyway, you still get those to go into the store, which is cool. And I've done about 10 different app stores, and I've had a few different experiences with it. Some where I did it myself. Okay, so here's the first one. I did it myself through China Mobile. So I went through and I set up the account, did everything. We released it to it, and I didn't really see a lot of traction with China Mobile. The next one, I went with a company that said they could put it on the top 10 app stores and that they would charge me a certain amount. And I said, okay, that sounded good. That was reasonable. So I said, that would be great. In fact, if this really works, I might do it for my clients too. And I said, but I'm going to have control over my app store, right? I'm going to be able to change anything. They said, oh, yeah. No, you will. And then they released it, and then I had no stats. I was like, how do I log into these accounts, all these accounts you set up for me? And apparently they just released it under their own app store accounts. So it was like, it was released under their things, but it was like such a hassle. It was like, that's not what I wanted. I'm not building your guys' brand. I'm building my own brand. So that was not what I wanted. So in the end, I got them to remove them all. And then I had one. There was a few other ones. I'm trying to think which one. I've never done a Huawei store, which I think is probably, I would imagine that's going to take over as being one of the big ones. especially if you're on Google Play, because at least they've got like a more global audience. The big thing with China Mobile was like it was slow. That APK that website was really really slow, and even like translating the Chinese. Like I would use Google Translate a lot because my Chinese is not good. My Chinese, I can hold a conversation like from like a simple conversation, but I can't read like terms and conditions because I can barely read terms and conditions in English. So and it was just so slow and everything. But I would imagine Huawei would be a much better one to do now. And so the other one was it's high APK. That's what it is, high APK, and it was that was one where I started seeing like I had like a huge amount of users coming from China, and I thought, how is that even possible? Like through my Firebase Analytics, and then I looked at the package name, and it wasn't my package name. It was my package name, but they appended something else onto it. So somebody had taken my application, decompiled it, and then released it as their own, but they still left all the Google, the Firebase Analytics in it. So I was still able to see that, and then I reported it to High APK, and they did remove it. So that was, in the end, I was able to get that on there. But again, I haven't even looked at it in such a long time. So it's not really very good experience. For me, the App Store, especially the Android one, is still very much the Wild West over there. If you can find a partner to do it for you, I would highly recommend doing it just because it's all the terms and conditions, setting things up. Sometimes you need to have a QQ number in order to do it if they're not, global. So iOS side is a lot easier to do it. And the only reason I'm thinking about Huawei, why haven't I done Huawei yet? Because I'm just lazy, I guess. But like Huawei, I think would be one where it should. Has anybody done Huawei? And do you have any Chinese users? Because that would be really interesting to know. Okay, so there's 37. Bart Raka says there's 37 views on the other live stream at the moment. Okay, well, I hope they're. What are they doing over there? Let's see. Let's see. Byron Lovelay says, have you explored any other ways to boost passive income apart from making apps? How do you know there is another? Yeah, and how do you know there's another live stream? Well, because Bart Raka's telling me there's another live stream. I don't know if there's another live stream or not. So yeah, I have looked at. So there's certain things where I think about doing other passive income streams, and it's really difficult because when you start looking into it, it gets really dodgy, and someone's trying to sell you a course on something. Like I looked at, and again, this is like I've looked into, not like I've actually done a lot with, Amazon FBA. You start getting those Udemy courses, and thinking, yeah, I could just buy like gym towels and sell them, branded under my own name and make $1 million off Amazon or whatever, because that's what everybody's saying that they do. But I don't think it's really that efficient. And in terms of a market type of thing, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, you got stuff like Wish.com and everything like that, which is kind of taking over that market anyway. Also looking at the YouTube videos, can I monetize the YouTube videos a bit more? I get sponsorship things all the time, and eventually I'm going to do something like saying this video was brought to you by Rice-A-Roni or whatever. But again, I don't want to do something. I think my whole thing is I don't want to do something where I say this is the best tool ever if I don't think it is, and that's because I think it's I'm grateful you guys watching. I don't I'm not going to sell out and just start getting other people to sell their rubbish to you. So there's that. And then also I'm just taking on a bit more contract work, which is definitely not passive income. Now, one of the things that I really appreciate, and this is something I think about doing a video on at some point, is being a software developer. When things go bad and when the economy goes, sorry, I've got something in my eye. When the economy goes bad, or when revenue slows down, or when your app gets suspended, or whatever, and you're just like, and you're in a pinch, as a software developer, you have a marketable skill. Whereas occasionally I'll think, maybe I could start making a go of YouTube. Like maybe I could make a lot of money from YouTube, right? I could be an influencer. God, right? But you know what? If the economy goes bad, or if things get really rough, those people aren't going to do anything. I mean, it's like so many times in my career, you'd be working a software job, and then like somebody will move away from software and they'll become a middle manager. So their promotion, they go from being a developer to a middle manager. They go from being somebody who does stuff to somebody who tells people to do stuff, which is is still its own skill in its own right. But when the economy goes bad and when there's massive layoffs, it's like those guys, the ones who have outlived their usefulness, they're the ones that go, and you're the one with the skill who actually can do stuff, because in the end things have to get done. And when I look at passive income, I mean, the great thing about passive income is that it's passive, like stuff just comes in, but you also don't know how long it's going to last, right? That was the thing with AirSpy. It was like the whole time it was like, it was like, how long is this going to last? Is it going to last the rest of my life? Is it going to last a month? Is it going to last a week? Well, how long is this going to last? Because it's just, you put stuff out there, you try to like feed the fire, make sure it gets in front of it as many people as possible, and it'd still be going if it wasn't for Google Play, just removing it. Then that's the artificial part of it. That's the non-capitalist part that just comes in and says, oh yeah, we're gonna remove that from the Play Store, we're gonna move it from the App Store, or whatever, which is like, unlike the World Wide Web where you put something out there and make money from it. On the Play Store, you have to play within their rules, and their rules change a lot, and and sometimes, they could just be a bit strict about it. But at the same time, being a software developer and creating software, if I'm not able to make that work, everything I learned making the software makes me more marketable on the job market if I need to. If I do need to take on a job or a contract or just do a little bit of freelance work, I can, right? And that's something that if I was doing Amazon FBA, I wouldn't be able to. If I was becoming a YouTube influencer, I wouldn't be able to do that either, right? And so it's one of those things that that's Byron, why I think I like being software developer more than anything else. Now it's true, people might not always need software developers. Actually, no, I think they would. I mean, I'm really, I think as I get older, I really start to appreciate people who do things more than people who talk, right? The people who can, like, and the more I start to move away from, I think one of the reasons I find it so difficult to give up the code completely is because I don't want to move into that. I don't want to become a pundit. I don't want to be somebody who talks a good game and can't do anything anymore, right? I just because, there's too many of those in the world, and sometimes I feel it coming on where I'm like, I'm getting a bit useless. I need to learn a new technology. So I am taking on like a short-term contract where I'm going to be doing a Xamarin application, which is again a new skill for me. But it's C#, so you're not going to do. But it's like one of the appeals of it to me was that I could get back into the code, like keep the brain sharp and everything. And you might disagree with that, but let's see. Appavelli says, have you read App Developer Magazine? No, I haven't. Is it any good? Is it, no, I haven't. I should probably take a look at it. Jose Combria says, how to monetize web apps. I think it's probably like apps. I mean, you've got advertising, and you've got subscriptions. Subscriptions are are the ideal. Ideally, I think like with web apps, like the same way. Ideally, you would get in-app purchases in your applications or subscriptions or whatever, right? But not a lot of people are going to pay for them. I mean, how many times have you gone to a news website and they say, pay for the full site, and you're like, nah, thanks, I'll just Google. Like there's another article, 3 clicks away that's free, right? And it may not be as good, but as far as I know, it's exactly the same. All things being equal, which as far as I know they are, then you do. So it's hard to get the people to make that kind of purchase. And then you got advertising, and I think advertising is so saturated that, one of the things I've noticed in the last couple of years is that AdMob and AdSense are really clamping down on advertising because people are abusing it, and it's becoming less and less valuable for advertisers. So like if like I said, even if I'm going to take out an ad for one of my apps, I'm thinking, is it just going to be on some click farm and somebody's going to be sitting there, self-clicking and do all that kind of stuff? And once you have that doubt, then nobody's going to invest any money in ad, and that's like a huge revenue stream for Google. But so yeah, Jose, I would imagine it would be the same thing. It'd be advertising and payments. And I suppose if you had, if you had payments, you'd have to have some sort of authorization and everything too. Again, it's not my area. Web apps is not my area. I've done several web apps before, but none of them have been monetized. Like they've never had made passive income for me. But I have clients who have SaaS applications, and I'm extremely jealous of them. Ved Kripash says, "Hey Eric, AdMob has provided me 5 cents cost per click for U.S. audience. There's nothing wrong with my account, no suspension warnings, and I don't know what I should do. Do you have any insider knowledge on this? My first question to you, Ved Prakash, would be, are you using banners or interstitials? And my bet is you're going to say banners, which is they just don't pay very much. Let's see. Ved Prakash also says, my app got unsuspended after a year. I billed like 30 to 40 times. God damn, you're the master. This time, I just explained to them properly and chose option. My punishment was too harsh, and somehow they listened. Nice. Yeah, I mean, they do. Eventually, you can get somebody to listen. 30 to 40 times, though, that's persistent. Wow. Because I tell you what, after like both times, well, my apps have been suspended 3 times, and the third time I was like, I just stopped. I need to appeal it again. Oh, yeah, I should just appeal it again. But it was like after the first time that they denied the appeal, I just sulked. It's like, oh, I guess I'm sulking now a little bit maybe. But yeah, no, you inspire me, Ved Prakash. Lee Ayerman says, have you ever tried Unity with the Playmaker extension? No. I'm about to publish my first app with it and absolutely love it. It's easy to publish on iOS and Android. I love your work. Thanks, Lee. Okay, and thank you so much for your videos. I've watched them so many times for inspiration as I built my first app. Thank you very much, Lee. All right, Lee, I hate to tell you this then after the kind words, but I have not used Unity with Playmaker extension. In fact, Unity is the one skill that, well, there's lots of skills I don't have, but it's one that, like, it's the one where I keep looking at it thinking, Unity is a Game of Thrones of app development, because it's like everybody talks about how great it is, but I haven't seen it yet. I keep thinking, ooh, I need to have a look at that, but I don't know if I have that kind of time. I don't know if I want to dive into that fully. But so that's like, it has that appeal. Like I'm thinking, I think I would really like Unity when I got into it, but I just haven't done it yet. I mean, I watched a few tutorials and they're like, okay, first of all, here's the IDE. You got this. Well, so in some ways I just like having a simple IDE with code editor, and that's the only thing about it. And it could be that exists, but I just don't. I haven't seen that yet, or they're trying to it looks a little bit to me like Visual Basic in the day where you'd have all these things and you couldn't see the underlying code so much. But I could be wrong about that. But no, that's cool. Welly Studio. Also, I gotta tell you guys, I need to leave at around 6 o'clock too. Again, one of the things I've been, I got 2 kids in university, and this weekend they both want to come home. So like tonight, I'm driving out an hour to pick one of them up, and then tomorrow morning I'm gonna drive out an hour and a half to pick up another one and then drive back. So anyway, just so you guys know, if I dash off. Let's see. Welly Studio says, sir. I have seen many apps with poor functionality and bad screenshots getting thousands of downloads. Is that due to strong marketing or anything else? I mean, I would think if you had bad screenshots and strong marketing, think about it, you as a user, what would it be? It would be the reviews. I mean, maybe it existed first and people started using it, and then the reviews were there, and then it started to grow a little bit there. Give me an example. Let's have a look. That would be really cool to have a look at. Goddess Ninkasi says, I just mailed once, and after 4 days, I got an email to say you can update the new APK. Oh, cool. Let's see. Leonel Fonseca says, oh, you know what? Do I seem low energy today? Oh, pump up. I think it's this. I think it's this sweater. This sweater. It's actually a lot warmer than I thought it was. I'm dressing like Theo Huxtable today, from the Cosby Show. Um, let's see. I don't know, or Wesley Crusher, whichever. This is very 80s. This sweater. I found it in my closet during the move, and I thought, oh, I used to like this sweater. I'm gonna wear this sweater again. But anyway, I'm sorry. It's going warm in here. Let's see. Leonel says, "Hello, Eric. Hope your move is going well. Am moving also. Find it very disruptive my workflow. Will be this weekend. All the best, man." Yeah. I think that's it. It's just moving. I mean, I love like setting everything up, but then it's like, yeah, it's like the constant filling up the car. Like here, the office is kind of a little bit bare, but not quite like enough. And I'm, eventually it's going to be the point where I'm just going to get up, be able to go into the spare room, work. Go. There's a coffee shop like a short walk away. I could go there if I need to. Film a bit more videos, go out and do some stuff. And, I'm really looking forward to it. But it's just sort of been this transition period where, like even like exercise, like getting to the gym. Like I've got, I just set up at the new gym, and I go in there and I find out, dude, this new gym is like way more crowded than the other one. I'm gonna have to start going in at 5:00 in the morning just to be able to use the equipment. And just that kind of stuff, and finding new running routes, and it's not like a big ordeal. And also, I'm trying to cook more in the new place, so there's that. The doing the dishes, burning things, messing stuff up. Let's see. Turk's Innovation says, "Do you prefer Facebook ads or AdWords? I feel organic reach is getting throttled across social media platforms." Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, a lot of people have been saying that, like the organic growth is a lot more difficult to achieve now. I mean, it's not just on apps; it's everywhere. It's where you almost have to pay for ads. But I don't think that's true. I think it's mainly, if you can get people to talk about it, that's what it is. I mean, we talk about the one Ved Prakash was just talking about. Was it Ved Prakash? It was Aweli Studio who said, an app that has terrible screenshots and bad marketing is getting lots of downloads. Why is that the case? Well, obviously people are talking about it, right? And whatever the reason is, try to figure out what that is. So you got people talking about it. You got the backlinks that go in. You got that kind of stuff. So, if you could get people talking about it and sharing it, that would be far better than taking out ads, right? And if you get people sharing it like through social media, that would be even better. I think the last big app that was almost like forced into my consciousness was the fake app one, because every social media influencer was taking selfies of it and posting it on their social media accounts. So it was like that was like a huge thing. And that was God, I would love to have that kind of success. But Turks Innovations, yeah, I prefer Facebook ads or AdWords. Facebook ads, if you have like a really tight niche and you really need to get in front of the right people, and your app makes enough from them that you could do it, then Facebook ads work. If you have like a free application, then Facebook ads are just far more expensive than doing like an ad mob thing. So, an AdWords AdSense. It's AdWords. Doing an AdWords campaign, because you could do something like that, like a really low cost per click. If you have something like a gems game or something, and you don't care, like the market is just the market, right? Then that would be it. But if you have something for pregnant mothers, then you're gonna want to be able to target that on Facebook. But then if you find that you're spending $3 per acquisition, then you need to make sure you're making more than that on that application. So like I would almost say like doing Facebook ads for your paid applications. So and I've known a few people who've done that, and it's something that in fact, I did that. So that was it last year. I did I was talking to somebody, a consultancy. They wanted me to have a look at their app. I was okay, that was really good, and they were making a lot of money from a paid application on iOS. And they were using all Facebook ads to go do it. They didn't have a free version, right? And I was kind of like, I always had a free version and a paid version, right? Ideally, you want people to move to the paid version or do in-app purchase to unlock the same features, right? But because they were able to spend $3 or $4 per acquisition and sell it for $10, they were still making a profit. So I started doing that, and then I started to see the revenue go up, and that was right before the suspension. It was almost like I was off the radar before that, and then that happened. So let's see. Aaron Chandran says, "Can you tell me the best server for chat app?" Every time I've seen examples of this, it's been Firebase, and I don't know if that's the best one. We did a quote for a so if you're going to do so. I know there's lots of services out there that do like you can just roll your own, like it's almost like there's lots of services out there where you can do your cross-platform leaderboards or chat backends or whatever. The thing that always scares me about or push notifications, there's stuff like what's the one that push notification? AirPush, no, not AirPush, that's an ad network. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. So they're out there and they could do that, and you can have like somebody actually host your chat engine for you. Now, my fear with that would be like, what happens if they disappear for some reason? What happens if they do like Corona did? What happens if you're using their backend service and then they disappear? So you could roll your own with either using a MongoDB backend with like sockets, sockets.io or something like that. I mean, I think that would probably be the best thing to do. But then you run the risk of backing it up and everything like that. That's why I think Firebase works pretty well in that thing, especially since when you do the Firebase, if you organize it right, so you have the chat rooms and everything, you get that real-time updates. But again, like if somebody knows a better answer for any of this stuff, just throw it out there, right? Try to pretend like Eric knows nothing, because you won't be far off. Technical ruler says, "Hey Eric, how did you manage to run a Facebook app install ads? When I'm trying to run app install ads to charge only per app install, not impressions, my Facebook ad manager dashboard says your account does not have enough install history to start using billing event for the mobile install ads. Am I doing something wrong?" Technical ruler, do you have anything in there that's tracking it through Facebook? Because it's not just the because you should have something that reports back, like it logs it as an install. So it's almost like if you include the SDK within the app. So like you have because all an ad will do for Facebook ads will send you to the App Store, and then they don't know whether or not the purchase or the install has actually been made. So it needs to make that. So you need to have something in your code that reports back to Facebook. That way you could track that. Could that be the case? But like, cause I mean, you could do it both ways. I've actually done it where I didn't put that in my app because I was doing it in Corona does it. Well, yeah, Corona does it like their Facebook thing, their Facebook plugin. They do it, and the nice thing about doing, like, if you have Firebase in yours, is that they could track that too, going through that. But yeah, that might be. Could that be what it is? Let's see. Vekprakash says, all my reviews and reinstated my app. Although I did take a full year to do that, and by that time I had the same app but fully compliant one on the store. Leonel says, thanks. I'll remember to not do that. Why not just pull the app and republish under a new app name? That's a long time to waste. Yeah, I mean, it is. You think if you have an app and you've got all the backlinks that go, I mean, releasing an app under a different name sucks. If you've ever had to do it, like so one of our early apps, the developers lost the key store. Okay, we lost the key store. It was really my responsibility to make sure the key store was taken care of. But we lost the key store file, so we couldn't release any updates. So we had to release it under a different name. Now, I had all kinds of, I was trying to do the social media stuff. I had ads out there. I had my other apps where I have the little pop-up nag ads that say, hey, try our new app that goes over here. And, of course, none of those would work anymore because the App Store changed, because the package name changed, right? They make it sound like it's such a big thing. And plus, all the existing users that you have aren't going to get the updates. You're basically starting from scratch. And that's one of the things, that's why, that's why I think you should fight for the appeal if you do get a suspension, if you think it's unjust, right? Like there's sometimes, like with the Ear Spy one, it was like they're saying, well, it's kind of it promotes spying, and I'm like, what? No. And I'm like, it's called ear spy. There's a picture of a spy there. Like, there's part of me like thinking, yeah, I'm on shaky ground here, but I'll argue my point anyway. K Yod Marino PH says, I have a Huawei account. Impressions of my app are pretty high. Very easy to publish apps. Rejections/violations don't affect the account. Has a free emulator to test your apps only for Android 9 and 10. I really need to get on. And you can remove APKs. That sounds cool. Yeah, maybe I should. Maybe we should all just flee to Huawei. Why do we stay with Google Play? Well, because that's where all the users are. But yeah, maybe have a look at that. Maybe yeah. Thanks for that. Let's see. Where are we? Let's see. Appavelli says, yeah, if you can share your screen so we can look at App Developer Magazine site. We want to know your thoughts about it. Okay, let's have a look at it. App Developer Magazine. Let me share my screen. All right, App Developer Magazine. App Businesses Startup News. Circle CLI. Let's check the top Android stories. Okay, yeah, I mean, it looks oh, wait, hang on a second. Top Android news. Let's look at the dates. We're talking about December. So is it, I know it's a magazine. Magazines aren't like, they're like, let's go to top stories. Appavelli, is this your site, by any chance? Or is it, let's see, so we, February 6th, February 4th. It looks cool, I guess. One of the things I find about, like, because I keep, like, registering for, like, TechCrunch and stuff like that. And what I don't like is that when they go on about the, when a lot of things go from, like, I want to know what's happening with Google. I want to know that kind of, like, I want to know how the platform, I want to know news about the platform. And I don't care about what the newest Tinder acquisition or the newest, whatever, Uber feature, right? I don't care about any of those. Like, I'm not, it's, I in some ways I think a lot of those tech sites, it's like watching watching a celebrity, like a celebrity news show. Like, you're thinking, oh, what's she wearing, or what's, and it's like very much it's geared towards, these top people who are like, what are they doing, and like, I don't know, maybe it's just a bit of jealousy. I don't know. But I just want to learn, like, what's new in the industry. So you look through those kinds of stuff, and most of the time it's like, it's nothing really interesting there. You know what is interesting though? Actually, let's have a look at this. The other day, so I was talking with somebody about Power Apps for Microsoft thing, which is like a way to make your own applications. Like, Power Apps is like based on SharePoint, stuff like that. So, so you can just put it together, especially in a business environment. You have something with a form. So I thought, actually, Google has they have App Maker, right? So App Maker Google, right? So I went on to that thinking, maybe I could do this for clients. And as I go into it, I see, oh, it'll be shut down on the next year, January 2019. I was going to do a video about this, but I just did one about Corona. And this is one of the downsides of using is of not making your own software. Right? Is that you're relying on a third party, and you don't need to, that you have no control over it. They could go out of business. I mean, Google's not going out of business, or they could just be like, dude, nobody's using this, like, except 5 people, or like they have a very small adoption, so there's no reason to keep it going. But if you're one of the people who is there, then you got that weird thing. And so I was looking at it thinking, okay, well, that's not going to be a thing. And then it says, whatever. It says something like For active apps, you could transition the functionality to another product. Your app can't be directly migrated to another platform, but AppSheet, AppScript, Google Forms, and App Engine offer many similar features. Learn more about the following sections. So it's like, oh yeah, so basically you're screwed. That's what it says. Let's see. Vetprakash says banners and interstitials, both of them giving 5 cent cost per click and about 10 cents RPM. That's right. That is really low. Yeah, that is very low. Lee Ayerman says, try Playmaker with Unity and check out my app. Lol. I've coded for 30 years and I thought the same thing. Unity with Playmaker is amazing. Cool. I think, yeah, I'll have a look at that, Lee. I mean, I think that's it. I keep, see, my background is in Visual Basic, and like Visual Basic was like, I remember going from Visual Basic and looking at Java, and I was surprised with Java the fact that it didn't have a dedicated IDE, and I thought that sucks. It sucks that Java doesn't have like an IDE like Visual Basic does. Visual Basic is so much better, right? And then I moved to C Sharp, as like a lot of people did when .NET came out. And then I really started to appreciate the fact that doing more stuff in code. And that's one of the things I like about Corona and Flutter. It's like you're just dealing in code. You're not like, oh, and then we got this WYSIWYG editor where you could drag stuff on there. It's like, dude, don't waste my time. I don't want any of that drag and drop stuff. I want one interface that does it, and I don't want to be reliant on a certain IDE, which could be expensive or not, because Visual Basic was expensive. But I think that's one of the reasons when I saw Unity, it seemed like everything will be like, okay, so we've got this section over here, this section, and I think it's just that's one of the things that does it. So Liam's making a chat app with Firebase. Firebase seems like it'd be there's so many tutorials out there on how to make chat apps with Firebase. Technical Ruler says, yes, I've integrated the Facebook SDK. Oh, then Technical Ruler, I'm not really sure why. I mean, how many do you know how many installs you're getting? I can't think of anything you'd be doing wrong there. Liam says, I'm not sure how I'll monetize it, though. Apparently, you have to be careful with ads and user-generated content. Oh, yeah, I suppose so. My AdMob account is just deactivated, and I've never even used it. Just set it up for testing. No idea why. I didn't know they did that. Do they deactivate AdMob for non-use? I know I keep setting up Amazon affiliate accounts thinking, I'm going to put Amazon affiliate links on the videos or whatever, and I never do, and then they end up just deactivating it. And then I set it up again, say, no, this time I really am. Let's see. Technical Ruler says, I can see app installs in my app in my Facebook ad manager dashboard. Does it take time to activate app install ad feature? Not that I'm aware of. No, I think you might need to contact them. Let's see. Technical Ruler says, but I'm getting charged for impressions right now. Yeah, if you're getting charged for impressions and you can't see how well they're working, then that's not a good thing. Yeah, because you need to find you need that installation cost. That way you know whether or not it's even worth doing. I think you should contact them on that. Movie Monster says, how can we find an idea to target a global audience? If I knew the answer to that. I would be hired by Hollywood to write the next blockbuster, right? It's just, how could we find an idea to target a global audience? Okay, all right. Look, actually, you didn't say successful idea. You said this is an idea to target a global audience. Think about something that doesn't rely a lot on text. So if you want something that's going to be for global, you want to have as little text as possible, as little description as possible, so that when you do translate it, you could do it. So like a news application would be a bad one because it's reliant on information in a database being done in English or whatever language is. But something like a game, you could probably do a lot of icons instead of words. And if you do have stuff, it's just like simple strings. But yeah, in terms of like what the concept would be, I don't know. Let's see. Marin Deer says, "Hi Eric. Eric, your webcam is blinking and blinking focus. Oh, sorry about that. You know what? I don't know what's. Seems like none of my stuff was working lately." Soul Coo Game says, "Hi Eric. Do you know any market other than Play Store and App Store to publish your app to, and is it worth it?" Yeah, there's loads. So, uh, well, not other than App Store. So App Store, they pretty much got it. Yeah, you it's their rules, right? You put it on the App Store or you don't put it anywhere. You put it on the App Store, or you can get an enterprise distribution certificate and you can release it outside the App Store. But it's a hassle because people have to go through and approve and trust it and everything, trust the publisher, and they kind of don't really want you to do that anyway. So there was a news story last year about apps that were getting removed. They were getting their enterprise certificates removed because they were doing stuff that was violating terms and conditions of Apple and just releasing it outside the App Store. So there was that. So on the Amazon side, on the Google side, you got Amazon, you've got Huawei, you've got all the Chinese markets, you've got some of these are like some of these I don't know if they still exist. You've got the Samsung store, you've got Slide It, GetJar. You know, there's other ways of doing it. It's easier to do it on the Android side, but the three big ones, or sorry, the two big ones would be, the three big ones would be Google Play, Amazon, and Huawei. Now, is Google Play was one I've done. I've said in the beginning it was like part of the process where we put it on Google Play and Amazon and Samsung at the same time, right? It was like that was part of the thing, and Samsung was getting decent download, but this was ages ago. I don't even know if they still exist. We were getting decent downloads from the Samsung store, but it wasn't. It was like really slow, and it was like it slowed down the whole process. You get stuff like the screenshots have to be like a slightly different size. You know, like you got other stuff to add, right? And on the Amazon side, to me it didn't seem worth it. I didn't get a lot of benefit from Amazon. However, I've spoken to other people who there's like, dude, all of my downloads come from Amazon. Like it's like because they're in a smaller market. You got somebody who's, you know, they got their Kindle Fire or whatever for Christmas. Some kid, they're gonna be looking for stuff. They might find your application. And then Huawei I haven't used yet, which is embarrassing that I haven't used that yet. So, let's see. So hey, we've reached the end of the live stream. It's now 6:00. Sorry about all the technical problems today, and also sorry for the lack of videos this week. I don't even think I'm gonna put this one on the channel because I'm wearing this stupid sweater, my Wesley Crusher sweater. So, hey guys, thank you very much for joining the live stream. We're going to do this again next week, maybe from the office, maybe from the flat, who knows. And I'll try to get better at getting the videos out this week. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend and a week ahead. That's it. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.